Spirit, honey.
Hi, I'm here with the Tripodi family, Mark and Christy and
Francesca, and Malia.
Malia. Mark, you just we just recorded a show about your Cornerstone of Hope. We haven't aired it yet, but you're happy with the show? It came out well?
I tell you, now I know you weren't able to be there, but Father Anthony, he did a good job filling in, so I think he's probably going to be pressing for some more airtime from you, you know?
Well, it's funny because he came back and he was really excited by it. He subs every now and then, but he just kept telling me it was a great show. And
it was. I mean, we were nervous because we don't, to sit there for an hour and there was a little bit of a crowd in the background, and Doug Barry did a good job facilitating, and we're just hoping to bring. We just pray to the Holy Spirit before the episode, and we have a bereavement ministry that we serve families out of Cleveland and Columbus, and I think a lot of people could resonate with our story because we know we're not alone in this. The reason we got involved in this ministry is because of the loss of our own son, and we've met so many families over the years that have looked to seek support after the death of a loved one, and we're there to help them.
And what was the core of your message that you really wanted to get out on this show?
Just that, really, we just need to help one another, If anything, that's what I love about the Catholic Church is we are a community of believers. And in order to be that community of believers for others, then we got to be there for one another, in faith, because it's really our faith, as we say, Cornerstone, Christ is our foundation, He is our hope. So really, that's our message, I would say.
In Rio recently, the Holy Father was talking about how as Catholics, like on the road to Emmaus, we need to accompany people in their darkness. What would you tell people, like at home, they have a neighbor, family member who are going through some loss? How do you accompany them? How do you walk with them?
We talked a lot on the show. We mentioned this too. We talk about the ministry of presence. You just have to be present. A lot of these families, they're going to be angry with God, and have doubts about their faith. And really, that's quite normal. We had doubts ourselves. So just to be with them and reassure them, and sometimes it's not so much what we say back, it's in that listening and just accepting of what they're saying, and then pick our spots when pick your spots when you get back to them as far as things you might want to say. You can witness to the gospel, and that's again the great thing about our faith is we have a God who also has grieved because His Son died too. This isn't some God that's up there in heaven that is abstinent of any suffering. I mean, He came down, became one of us, and suffered Himself. So we have a God that has experienced suffering and knows suffering firsthand through His Son Jesus on the cross. And that's a hard message to hear when you're maybe a day, a week, even a month removed from the death of a loved one. But I think the more the shock wears off, you kind of get rooted back into your traditional faith, and it's like my wife said, that hope of being reunited with our loved one is ultimately going to carry through, I believe. Yep.
I spoke to you at this Catholic Fest last year ago, and I remember the thing that I really remember about talking to you all is that you have 10 children, and you're living on Providence. Yeah. You're all in, right?
Yeah, we're all in.
Describe what all in is like.
It's crazy, it's overwhelming, but by the grace of God, as Mark has often said, God put us on our knees, and we've been going to it ever since. And He is our salvation. He's everything, and He's what is going to get us through this life. And when we're all in heaven one day, I don't think we'll ever question what happened. We're going to be so grateful to be there. I don't think anything else could ever matter. So.
And that you've been generous with life and your family and everything. It's such a challenge for married couples today. What would you tell them, Mark? I mean, I know fathers in particular, they feel that burden of providing and stuff. What would you tell young Catholic families today?
I mean, if you're in America, if you own a home and a car and you have food in your cabinet, you're in the 98% of the most richest person in the world when you look across the world. So if people think they need more stuff, we have enough in this country. Where we're poor is in our faith. And we've got to get back to the roots of our faith and teach our kids. I know that they worry about expenses and college expenses and retirement. Listen, we need to establish the faith within the family, first and foremost, because ultimately, all the material things, possessions, homes, cars, retirement funds, that's all going to go away and be split up amongst family members, right? It's going to come to a question, you know, the 4 last judgments, right? You know, I mean, you're either going to heaven or you're going to hell. And where are you going to put your investments in? You got to put it in your faith and loving your kids. You know, the best thing I could do for my kids is to love my spouse, to treat her like royalty, she's my queen, you know, and loving her, ultimately I'm loving my children, you know.
And that's today's reading, gospel passage today. Jesus tells, you know, be rich in what matters to God, right? So thank you for your witness. That's a beautiful witness for us. Thank you.